Okay. This is Sarah, and we're doing our interview for ESOL. Our first question is, describe yourself as a preschool child.
I was very studious, and I was a goody girl.
Well, that's a good thing. Were you adventuresome? Oh, you said goody-goody,
Yeah.
so that's on there already.
I was goody-goody, but I was also adventurous. I would always
Okay.
ask many questions.
Were you complaining?
No, I just like to find out why things were the way
Curious.
they were. Yeah.
Curiosity.
Yeah, curiosity.
Okay. Have you observed your parents with other children? Of course you
Yes.
have, because you have siblings.
Yes.
Do they encourage open-ended exploration, or would they prefer children to play quietly?
Ooh, depending on the age. Most of the time, quietly. Sometimes, as long as it's outside of their sphere of things, I could be adventurous.
Okay. What was the knowledge environment like in your home?
Knowledge is mainly like Christian, like a lot of Bible, a lot of theology. I was able to do a lot of research. I could ask questions and they would be able to answer it. So there was always a learning opportunity at home.
Okay. And like, did your parents read to you when you were younger?
Actually, they did not read to me. I
Okay.
actually did that all by myself.
Okay. Was there a time when family members had discussions about like what was happening in the news or media or certain issues that are going on,
All the
in the
time.
world?
All the
Oh,
time.
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. How much dissent was tolerated from parental viewpoints?
None. Zero tolerance.
Were children encouraged to question the status quo? I guess.
No.
No. Okay.
Absolutely not.
What was it like to learn to talk and think in your family?
Within my family, I was allowed to express myself as long as it was respectful, but when we were outside of our family sphere, I was to be quiet and not be heard.
Okay. Did you have a diverse group of friends in high school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What is your ethnic group?
Latin.
Latin, okay. What symbols or traditions did you participate in that came from your ethnic group?
A lot of music, the food. Those
Yeah.
two have always been really big.
Mm-hmm. What do you like about your ethnicity?
Music and food. The family. I love the family aspect of it. Yeah.
Right. Is there a time now when your group celebrates traditions together? Like, do you still do
Yes.
what you did growing up, family traditions and things like that?
Yeah, the stuff during Christmas time, the stuff during Thanksgiving, it's a little bit different than the American version, but, we still keep up with that. Those are very important family times.
Okay, and what was the thing? I know you told me about something y'all did. You went from house to house or something?
Oh gosh, now I have a brain. Okay, it's, oh my gosh, I know it.
I know, because you told me about it.
it.
And you would,
It's Parandiano, but it's basically where you go from house to house and you
Right.
start with like an appetizer, and then you go to the other house and you have
Right.
like another appetizer, and then you have a meal, and then you have dessert, and then you
Mhm.
have coffee. So you pick up people and you do a big collective party. You collect people as
Right.
you go.
Right, I remember you told me about
Yeah.
that. That sounds like fun. Okay, does your religion play an important role in the confirmation of your group?
Yes,
Yes. And that is Christianity?
Christianity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What was your experience with ethnic diversity, which you kind of told me you had diverse friends, and what was your first image of race or color?
When I came to the States, coming from Puerto Rico, I didn't know or acknowledge that there was a difference in color or skin, but when I came to the States, you can really tell that there was black and there was white and there was Hispanic and other ethnicities. So growing up, I didn't see a difference in culture.
Right.
Everybody was the same to me, but coming here, it was like a smack in the face that there is a lot of prejudice and a lot of racism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that even now.
Yeah.
Okay. What contact do you have now with people of different races and ethnic backgrounds? Which you
Just keep up relationships with people that I've known in the past through Facebook or calling them, or just, the same way, whatever I started with, I still continue. So
Right.
Facebook is a major part of that.
right, and you have friends of all different yeah
Backgrounds, ages.
right ages, backgrounds. Okay. How would you characterize your desire to learn more about other backgrounds and ethnicities?
My desire is, I love to learn about other people because it helps me learn more about myself. And so, and it makes the world actually a little bit bigger and smaller at times, depending how much I learn. But I love to learn about other people's food and how they have different costumes throughout Christmas, or just whatever their celebration and traditions are.
Right. Yeah. How does your ethnic group view ethics, family, marriage, things like that?
Work ethic is very, very high, but it's not just because of my culture, it's also because of my family. Family is a very important thing, so it's God and family. And then, what's the last one?
Like marriage, family.
They're very heavily set on, the definition of what a marriage is between a man and a woman. And so there's no if and buts to that. That's the rule of thumb. And so they're very strong about that. And marriage is very important. That they wait till people get married, to consummate their marriage, and having a family, having children, having the whole picture as a whole unit. That's very important to them.
What are some services available to you, like health, insurance, education? Do you think you have the same opportunities as everyone else, or you think because you weren't born here that maybe you don't have the same
I don't think it has to do with the part that I wasn't born here, because Puerto Ricans are considered to be citizens of the United States, but at the same time, the fact that I look younger than what I am, the fact that I'm Hispanic, the fact that I'm a female, and the fact that people look at me and they see me instead of look at my experience, kind of stops people from engaging on more or allow me to have different opportunities. It stops them, the way that I look stops people from allowing me to engage in other available opportunities that would normally come to other people.
Right. Okay. And that was another question, gender differences, education, so you kind of touched on all that. Did you ever feel culturally displaced because you didn't speak English?
Yes, especially because teachers coming here to the States made me evidently aware that there was a difference. So that made it hard.
And you were in ESOL when you were?
Yes.
Okay. Did not being able to speak English, did that, and like the way people treated you, did that affect you in any way?
Yeah, the first year was hard. The second year I had a lady by the name of Miss Bertha Hardiman, which I actually still know to this day. She actually comes to my church. She was my 4th grade teacher, and she helped me to get rid of that thinking regarding how people just, how I was limited. And then I had during that time I had an ESOL teacher, and I can't remember her name, but I remember her being very kind and very generous with her time, and very patient with me and helping me to learn.
Right.
Because the English language and the grammar part of the English language is extremely hard. It took me all the way through my senior year of high school to actually get it.
Right.
So.
And that shows how important a good ESOL teacher is.
Yes, it is.
They have to be patient, and they have to be understanding.
Yeah.
And they have to want to help.
Yes.
Instead of,
and
some of them I've seen, they just kind of write the kids off, and I'm like, it doesn't mean the child can't learn. It means that they don't understand. So you have to break it down for them.
Yeah. And you have to break it down. Like, the biggest challenge for me was I had some ESOL teachers that understood me and understood my culture and understood my background. So there's certain things that they would try to teach me in a certain way that was against my belief. And so that kind of hindered my learning process. And so if they would get to know the child better and also the style of learning. Some kids know how to learn visually. They never took the time to learn my learning style so that they can help me better.
Right.
They was just teaching and trying to help me out the way that they were taught or the way that they learned. They never took the time to get to know me and be able to address those issues so that they can help me succeed. So.
Now, do you think that, I don't know if when you were in school if it was this way or not, but now as teachers, we're taught to incorporate the students' culture into the learning, because that will get them engaged more. It'll be something they're familiar with, and they'll be more interested in the lesson and learning about it if it's something, you know, from their culture and their background.
It depends on the age and depends how long they've been in the States. So for someone who may be a Puerto Rican who they've been in the States for the longest time, that's not really going to affect our culture, because their culture is where they live in. All they've known is Florida, let's just say.
Right.
They haven't known Puerto Rico. But for someone like me who came here at the age of 7, who my only knowledge was what I was raised in, that's a whole different story. You do need to apply certain things and have someone who speaks the language that can help you with the whole process, not just someone who's an American who, or someone who just speaks English, but someone who speaks both languages, so that they can address certain issues that normally would be addressed in one language. They can address it in both languages and be able to help me excel.
Right. Okay. Do you ever, do you feel distant from your first culture now, or
No.
No, you didn't. Like some students kind of push that part aside and kind of become, I don't want to say Americanized,
Yeah,
but
what they do become
they kind of
Americanized.
forget,
Yeah.
you know, where they came from.
Yeah. My grandparents made sure that I did not. When I would come home, I was only able to speak Spanish. And when I left the house, I was only allowed to speak English. So that helped me to reinforce. And because I am around them all the time, that helped raise me, that helped to keep the culture. And there's always family and friends that are always around. And different conversations strike up. So there's different things that we do to keep that culture alive. But for someone who, again, it depends if they came from somewhere. It depends they were raised here. But there are a lot of people, like my 2 brothers, they're very Americanized, but they were born and raised here.
Right.
Even though we lived in the same household with the same family members, they're totally Americanized.
Okay. All right. And you're probably them encouraging you to embrace your culture.
My family
Had a big had a big part of keeping that
they did, especially
alive
my
and
grandparents.
right.
Because that's where we came from.
Right.
You know, it doesn't mean that you're any different or you're not less of an American or more than American, but you can't forget where you came from.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, and you speak Spanish and English, right?
And a tiny bit of French, but that was from high school. Just
And
a tidbit.
your first language is
Spanish.
Spanish. I think that's what I
Yes.
thought. And the other language, of course, you learned in school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I think that's it. That's all my questions. I appreciate everything.
You're going to get 100.
Yay, thank you.